Hello and welcome to podcast number 2 with Chris and Kirsty Deeble Rogers. Today we're talking about targeting.
Yeah, so targeting on Facebook is something that everybody is told they need to do correctly, and obviously you want to do that because Facebook. The biggest appeal of Facebook is how well you can target people. But the problem is, in reality, it's something people struggle with a lot.
Yeah, it's something they do completely wrong. So again, as Chris just said, with Facebook, you can get really specific with your targeting. You can target people who are likely to move house or has a specific car, how long they've had that car for, and like dog owners. You can target loads of different things. And there's so many powerful things you can do with targeting, which means that you are only spending your advertising money on the people that are most likely to be your next customer.
So if you're a car dealer, for example, this detailed targeting is wonderful because you can target people who are potentially getting bored with the car. They might be coming to the end of the lease, so say they've had the car for 2 or 3 years. So this detailed targeting really lets you hit on who your customers are most likely to be, the people who are going to be in the market for a new car.
Yeah, or like, so if you're trying to sell dog food, you could target people who own a dog, obviously, which is just common sense. And you'd be losing money if you showed that advert to people who didn't own a dog. So, like, that's the power of targeting. And I'm sure you've heard some of this before, but did you know that that is such a very small part of the targeting pie? There is so much more that you can do when you know who you're targeting.
That's right. So when most people talk about targeting, they're talking about just that, exactly who you're sending your adverts to. And that is targeting on Facebook. But when we talk about targeting, we like to think about it as including the actual message that you're sending out to people. So it's not just who you're targeting, but it's how you speak to the people you targeted. Because after all, if you've targeted a very specific audience and you don't make the most of that with your copy, then really should just be targeting anybody.
Yeah, so that's why targeting is so powerful. Just targeting them and then trying to get them to do what you want isn't half as powerful as also using that targeting in the actual words you say to them. So we've done this recently with grandparents, actually. So we targeted people who were obviously of an older generation who are likely to be grandparents. And then in the copy, we called out specific pain points like playing with grandchildren and how important it was to them, and then linking that to back pain and then suggesting how we could solve that for them. So that's where you can get so specific with your copy, because we know that's only going to be sent to people 50, 55 plus. So they're likely to be grandparents. And so it's resonating with them more. If we sent that same copy to a 25-year-old, it's not going to work. So it's like you're speaking directly to them. And we can actually go even further than that. We can go deeper than that. We can actually do things where we kind of like you exclude other things or you include other things. And what we'll talk about that in a bit more detail so you can kind of get an idea of what we mean. But when you do that, the targeting can be so specific that it does feel like you're having like a conversation with somebody over Facebook.
A really basic example of that would be targeting dog owners and excluding cat owners. We could say something about how great dogs are because they're so welcoming, unlike cats, because, well, in my opinion, cats don't really care about you. But we can say that because we know we're speaking to dog people and we've excluded cat people. So we're speaking to dog owners about the things they love while also making what is essentially an inside joke without offending any cat owners because we've excluded them from our targeting. So because we've related to the dog owners, they're far more likely to listen to what we have to say and stop and take notice of it.
Yeah, and that's kind of like that power of the targeting again. It's like having that conversation with somebody, so it makes them kind of sit up and listen, because they have so many adverts sent to them all the time, and so many of them are just those blanket adverts. It's like, buy me, get this, do that. Whereas if you can kind of relate to them first, and you know the people you're targeting are the people you want to talk to, that's where the power is. So like that's even just like one section, one segment of the dog owners. You could also like target different audience with dog owners. Like you could have active owners that take their dogs for a run. You've got the handbag dog owners, which obviously like to pamper their dogs more, maybe, and like you've got people who may like train them for agility, and they all have different interests. And so you'd need to talk to each of those dog owners separately, and if you did talk to them the same way, it could actually be detrimental. You wouldn't maybe get as far as if you kind of like segmented those up into those like micro target audiences and, targeted them all separately. And that's the key, these micro target audiences. So That's what we're talking about. These micro-target audiences are actually where the money is, I would say, because you can go so specific and so deep that you can then it just feels like you're talking to them directly.
So micro-targeted audiences are really what this podcast is all about.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what this is about, actually. It's those really small segmented audiences and just talking directly to those.
Okay, so let's use a more specific example. Let's talk about gyms. So at a gym, you've got so many different people going there. You've got mums during the day. You've got people who want to go and build muscle. You've got people who are going to lose weight. You've got people going for the general fitness, flexibility. And then it goes even further than that. You've got people who like classes, people who like working with the headphones on, ignoring everybody. People who want to stand around and show off in the mirror and show off all their guns, their gains. And obviously, every single one of these has a different way that you would speak to them. And so just a blanket gym advert that just calls out gym users just wouldn't make sense to these. If we talk to them all in the same way, then we just can't get specific enough, which is exactly what we're trying to do with this micro-targeting. So if we were just targeting everybody and said about losing weight in the copy of the advert, immediately we've just lost a huge percentage of our audience. Because what about the guys who are going there to bulk up and build muscle? They're just not interested in something about losing weight. I mean, it's the opposite of what they want to do.
Yeah, so talking about such a broad topic usually means that you're actually talking to no one.
Yeah, that's right.
And that is where the targeting comes in. So, how about if we could target people who are likely to go to a gym and is a mum, or who are likely to go to a gym and want to gain muscle or weight? Now, if it will feel like we're talking directly to them and they're more likely to listen because we can talk to their pain points. We can talk to them specifically. So, if you implement this strategy right now, you'll quickly see how effective it is. You might have like smaller audiences, but that audience is going to be like basically just sit up and listen when you talk to them because they will feel like, again, I know I feel like I repeat myself so much, I keep saying the same thing, but it will feel like they're talking to you. Like you must have seen adverts on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever you are, and you feel like, oh wow, you really understand what I'm going through right now. And that's what they're doing. They're micro targeted audiences. They are really specifically targeting in on you and what you are feeling at that time.
And maybe you just answered no to that question, thinking, well, actually, I don't see adverts that call out like that. And that's where we're trying to make the difference. By putting these adverts out there that speak directly to people's concerns, interests, pain points, then that's when you can build that relationship far quicker than you can with just general adverts that perhaps you think you see every day.
So you're probably thinking, this is all great, Kirsty and Chris, but how do I implement this? This doesn't sound like it's going to be very easy. So let's pick the gym and the mums category. So we're going to target people who are likely to go to the gym and is a mum. And what we need to do is we still need to pick out some pain points for that mum. So maybe we're going to pick maybe like busy, they want to stay in shape, or maybe they want to like come and relax at the gym and meet other mums. And on each of those ads, we kind of talk about that, and then we also give them an answer, a solution to their problem. So, for example, if it was the busy one, you might say something like, um, you could say, let's think, it's hard juggling the kids and work and things like that. We've created something really special for you. It's a 30-minute tone class for busy mums just like you. Come in and try the first session for free. Now, obviously, the copy might need to be a bit better than that, but you kind of get my point. Or if it was like a relaxing one, you might have like more like maybe a class that's like specifically like mindful, like yoga or something really calm. And again, you've said like we've created this specially for you to come and relax and meet other mums. And having that offer that answers the pain point that they've got is going to be so powerful for that. All of a sudden you can like be so specific because you know exactly who you're talking to, and how cool would that be?
And you can do this for pretty much any niche or any business out there. So we recently did a campaign where we used something this for one of our clients. It was a chiropractor. And one of the things that we noticed was that there's a lot of people out there ourselves included in this, suffering with back pain from being at desk all the time. So we used that as one of our pain points to call out. So we were targeting people who had desk jobs in the local area for this chiropractor, and we had amazing success with calling out exactly their problems. So we were talking about the strain of hours behind a desk and how they might need to be loosened up, how a chiropractor can help turn this around. And by calling this out, people can relate to it because chances are they're sitting at their desk while they're reading this and thinking, well, this is me right now, and this is me Monday to Friday every day of the week. And this stuff is really powerful. So using these techniques over the last 6 months, I believe the client spent £200 on ad spend and got over 130 leads back, which is just insane.
That's only one of the campaigns that we're running for her. This is what sets digital advertising apart from kind of the print and the traditional media, because you can target who you exactly want to talk to. So you don't have to go all broad and, have one size fits all for everybody, but you can kind of go a lot more specific. And then, of course, you can also like track who is interested and give them something that is specific to them. So, that's through retargeting as well. And just give them an offer that's just hard to refuse, just like you would do in person. So, like, I'm sure you'd never give the exact same offer in the exact same way to everyone you meet. It would be tailored to their needs or their wants, and you'd maybe give a different feature, a different benefit to one person because they've mentioned something than to another person. And so that's what this like micro targeting is so good for, because you can do that without you needing to go and speak to all these people. You are speaking to people every single day on Facebook, having those kind of sales conversations that you would have normally face to face, but now you don't have to because it's all automated. Each one of these micro audiences may need a different offer, or you may explain the offer in a different way to them, but this method will save you money because people will actually be listening to what you have to say rather than thinking, oh, another advert, great. They'll be like, oh, this is for me. I can tell this is for me.
And coming up with these audiences is quite fun, to be honest. It's one of our favourite parts of the job. It's just really sort of niching down into your audience. So you think it's quite simple who you'll be targeting. So like with a chiropractor, you think about, oh, it's just your local area, but it's not. Then you start thinking about, how can we really bring this down to an individual group of people, and how can we talk to them? And it becomes quite fun, just grabbing a piece of paper and just working your way through a list and seeing who you can talk to.
So, what can you do for your business? How specific could you get with your targeting?